Welcome to Office Hours with Bill Jennings from Klamath Community College. Today I want to talk about solving equations that have absolute values in them. This is really, for our college algebra course, one of our easier sections that we have, mainly because everything's going to be linear, and we already have some of these techniques instilled in us by the methods that we used for the square root property. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at this absolute value of x equals 3. And let's forget any of the algebra components, and let's just make it a logical question of there's a value that I can plug into here that if I take the absolute value of that value, I want it to produce a 3 output. It's a riddle. What value can I put inside that absolute value? So what goes here that produces a 3 output? Does it make sense that if you did the absolute value of 3, that would be 3, and the absolute value of a negative 3 would also be 3? That's really all there is to it. We've technically been doing these problems all along with the square root property questions. So the trick, well, we just need to put a plus or minus on the opposite side of the equation once we've isolated that absolute value. So just like in the square roots, we have to isolate. If I have an absolute value isolated on one side, it's as simple as saying x equals 3 or x equals negative 3. So it's either going to be plus or minus this opposite side away from the absolute value. So there's our solution, and you can plug those in, and we know that they're going to work. Now, moving over here to the right, if we look at this, I can't really just say, just remember like on the square root, you had to isolate the square root. Absolute values is exactly the same thing. If I can isolate x plus 1 equals 9, notice I can add 9 to both sides, and it's going to come across here on the other side. And so then I have the absolute value. You could kind of think of it as being the absolute value of what equals 9. Well, either this what is going to be equal to 9, or that what is going to be equal to a negative 9. And so that's really what we have going on behind the scenes. So in the end of the day, all we really have to do is make two equations. I'm going to get two answers. X plus 1 equals 9, or x plus 1 equals negative 9. So subtracting, I'm going to say x equals 8, or x, there was a 1 there, x equals negative 10. If you don't believe me, you can plug it right back in. Negative 10, let's take that negative 10 and plug it in right up here. Negative 10 plus 1, well, that makes a negative 9. Absolute value of negative 9 is 9. Let's take the 8, let's plug the 8 in. 8 plus 1 is 9. Absolute value of 9 is 9. Now you know the world fell apart if when you isolate that absolute value and you end up with a negative on the right-hand side, because you can never have an absolute value that will produce a negative number. So be on the lookout for that if you happen to make a small little error. So one more time, if I take this, I need to get this on the other side of the equation. So I'll say absolute value of x plus 1 equals 5, because I'll add 5 to both sides. One more time, x plus 1 equals 5, or x plus 1 equals negative 5. Don't forget to put down both answers. You're going to get 2. So in this case, x equals 4, or x equals negative 6. And logically, again, we can take and check our answer. Negative 6 plus 1 would actually give us a negative 5. Absolute value of negative 5 would be 5. 5 minus 5 would be 0. 4 plus 1. Absolute value of 5 is 5. 5 minus 5 makes 0. And so there is our solution. We'd have negative 6 and 4. That's our solution. Now this one here looks like it, I mean, its bark is kind of worse than its bite. I have two absolute values. There's really actually going to be 4 answers, but we're going to end up basically just doubling each side. So on this one, we would say 2x minus 7 equals x plus 3. That would be positive equals positive, because we have this kind of this, well, this could be the positive of that. If this turns out to be a negative answer, and this turns out to be a positive answer, they'll match. If this is a positive answer and a positive answer, or a negative and a positive, but if they're both negative, that is actually the same thing as that. So we actually really only get two possible answers. This would be one answer that we would have, and this is 2x minus 7 equals a negative, but I have to take a negative of the entire thing because it'd be the whole side. So 2x minus 7 equals a negative x minus 3. It's a linear equation now. I can simply solve it. This is going to be 3x equals, adding that is going to be 4, so x equals 4/3. And here we're going to have minus the x, we would get x, and we would add the 7 equals 10. And both of those answers should check out for us, being all good. Thanks for watching this version of Office Hours.